Hey guys, Michelle Lim here. In this video, I really want to talk about how to get started with stand-up comedy. Now, I realize that even though I've made quite a few videos on comedy, I've never done like a 101, like how to actually put your name down and tell your first set. And I was inspired to make this video because my friend Andy, who was a recent subscriber, was asking about how to get started. I've written out like a little bit of a list of instructions that I want to read to you. I think the first thing that I would do if I wanted to get started. So when I started, it was a bit weird because I entered a comedy competition and I didn't actually know that it was a comedy competition, and that's how I got started. And it was pretty fun, and I was lucky because after doing that comedy competition, I did pretty well. So I made it through to like the next couple of rounds, and then people would like invite me to do sets here and there. So I got some stage time. But now like I guess the competition's pretty um, strong, I suppose, for comedy, and maybe there's like a lot of people that want to be comedians, so it's a little bit harder to just get stage time if you don't know anyone. So what I would recommend is starting out and maybe just check out a couple of open mic nights first. Like you don't have to put your name down. You just want to go there, check out the scene, see what the level is like and see how other people do on stage, like what works, what doesn't work, and just get some inspiration for your first comedy set, right? So, first things first, go check out an open mic night. Second, you need to work in your set, obviously. So, work in your set, make sure it's good, go test out your jokes to people, and get feedback and practice your set and all that sort of stuff. And then I would encourage you to make some sort of event out of it. Like maybe get some of your friends to come along and you guys can go out for dinner or like get some drinks or whatever. And I think it's really important that you bring your friends along to your first set because one, it's like your first set. It'll be really fun to have your friends in the audience for moral support and they'll like laugh at you or with you, but they'll make you feel better after, even if your set doesn't go that well. It'll be fun anyway. And the second reason is I like to ask you to bring your friends along so that they can hold you accountable. Like if you just go by yourself, you might chicken out and be like, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. But if you brought all your friends along, everyone's going to be like, okay, Michelle, like you need to do this because you dragged all of us out here, so we expect you to deliver. So that's what I would recommend. And then what I would recommend is after you've done your first set, maybe like go up and talk to a couple of the other comics that have done it. And I think this is good if you're going to an open mic night because the other comics are probably have just started or maybe they've been doing it for a couple of years, but they'll be very approachable. It's not like you can go to an actual comedy store, check it out, and then like try to talk to the comics after because they're like professionals or this is like their full time thing and they might not have time or interest to talk to people who are just starting comedy. So that's what I would recommend. And also, there's always like a Facebook group, usually in every area for open mic nights. I would recommend that when you're talking to the comedians after your first set, or if you're just like hanging out at open mic nights, then you can say like, "Hey, I'm new to the area, or I'm trying to get into comedy. Is there a Facebook group that I can join where I can see the announcements and stuff?" And then when you check the Facebook group, then you'll be able to see where all the upcoming gigs are, which will be really useful for you in planning your calendar. So that's what I would recommend for if you were like brand new to comedy. And then if you're moving to a new city like I did, so I moved to a new city and I'm trying to establish my comedy connection here, what I would recommend you do is yeah, also go to some open mic nights and bars. I guess like when you're in a new city, you're not gonna be you're not gonna be able to get on to like the hottest comedy club or whatever straight away, right? Because nobody knows you. They don't know if you're good or not. You need to kind of maybe start from a open mic night or check out if there are any like bars around your area that have live comedy and go to a couple of them and get the feel and then just talk to people and be like, hey, I'm new to the area. I'm trying to get into comedy. Can I register my interest to perform here? And what I found is really helpful is usually there's like a Facebook group or something, and they might have a list of places that does comedy. And what I would do is I would either like go to that place and make sure that I check out a show so that it looks like I'm involved in the community and I'm trying to like support other comedians because no one likes it when you just rock up, you haven't been to any shows, nobody knows who you are, and you're like, hey man, put me on stage, right? So it's always good etiquette to make sure you go to these shows and support the other comics, and then you can like make friends with people. And you don't have to be friends with everyone. I remember when I was in Sydney and there'd be little groups and some of the comedians I got on along better than others, but that's how you find your tribe. And it's really important that you make friends in the comedy industry because it's like playing sport, like you don't want to just be like by yourself all the time. If you have friends that play the same sport, then you're more likely to keep being involved in the club and you're more likely to keep going. So it's the same with comedy. So if you can try find some friends, and it's more interesting when you go out to these things and you have friends, you can talk to them and stuff, like swap ideas. So yeah, so I would go to these places. I would check them out. I would talk to them in person. I think that's always really good, because sometimes, like with Facebook or email, it's kind of hard to get their attention. But then after that, I would also like follow up with an email, or maybe if they had an email address, I would send them an email. But I would always make sure that I included a clip or something to let them know that I've been doing it for a while. Like, this is my style, so maybe you can check it out, and if you like it, then maybe you can put me on stage. So just, yeah, just try it out. Make sure you make some friends. Um, be nice to everyone, and like, remember that, I guess, when you're doing comedy and you're not like a professional comedian, that everyone has a day job. Well, mostly, I suppose most people are like kind of busy. Like, comedy is not their full-time thing, so they're gonna be busy and they might not reply to you straight away, and that's why you need to make it as easy as easy as possible for them to make a decision on whether they want to be, like, if they want to put you on. So that's why the video is a really good idea, so that you can be like, hey, here's my video, then maybe you can put me on, or just meet them in person, and then you can be like, hey, I really liked your set. I was really hoping that I could get on. What's your email address? I'll send you a clip or something like that. So they are my tips for getting started. But first things first, write your set, invite your friends to come along, and then you're gonna have a good night either way, It'll be your first set, it's really exciting. All your friends will be there to support you, and even if it doesn't go that well, they can either give you some good tips on how to improve, or they'll just like laugh at you, but they'll still make you feel better, hopefully. So they are my tips. I hope you like them. Thanks. Bye.